this episode, we'll learn how to overcome limiting beliefs and navigate emotional baggage with the help of a transformational leader. He's a podcaster and is the author of Accelerated Evolution. Welcome to the show, Satyen. How are you doing?
Thanks for having me, Toby. Looking forward to chat with you today and share with you.
Thank you so much for making out the time to speak with me on this episode for a sober conversation. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your presence here today. And while preparing for this conversation, I was like, oh, there's a lot of things I'm going to learn from you because you're going to be teaching us about overcoming limiting beliefs, how to let go of emotional baggages. But before we get into all of those conversations, I would just like to learn from you as a being. Like, I got to know that your deepest purpose is to make it possible for others to awake in a way that is real, practical, and sustainable. Satyan, what gave birth to this purpose?
I started out in martial arts as a youngster. In martial arts and kung fu, the philosophy is of the warrior and the sage. And the warrior is one who is a spiritual warrior. And the spiritual warrior is one who uses their power as a being to be of positive benefit to others and society. And the sage within us is that part which is connected to our altruistic wisdom, our unity, our oneness as human family. Sage is wisdom, warrior is power. When you mix power and wisdom together, it's a very powerful combination. Power without wisdom can cause harm. Wisdom without power can be impotent and just be intellectual or philosophical. But when we have warrior and the sage, so this has been my spiritual journey, my inner practice now for 4 decades. I started out in martial arts. That led me to the healing arts. And then that led me to the psychospiritual, many, many different forms of development. And so I've been deeply immersed in the teachings and the study of warriorship, of tantra, sacred relationship, shamanism, the use and the understanding of sacred medicine plants from all the indigenous traditions of the world, reality creation. How do we understand the laws of the universe and become aligned with them to have fulfilling lives rather than resist the principles of life? And then self-realization to me is important. How do we come to recognize who we are with each other as divine individuals, as something far more than just a body and a mind and a personality and a work and a job, but something far greater, far more beautiful and profound. And so these elements, I've been on this journey, studying, learning, teaching, sharing for 40 years. And my inspiration is really helping people ignite their passion and to live freedom and to embody love. And the work I've been distilling over the years, I call accelerated evolution. And for me, it's a very potent, fast, rapid way to shift our life to our highest, to go from the lower mind, the ego mind, to the higher self, to go from lower motives and stuck goals and problems and challenges in life into states of freedom and flow and happiness and love. So that's been my passion, and my joy is to share it with other people like yourself and others in the world who want to have their growth, their happiness, their evolution, their success in a hurry rather than taking so long.
Yes, wow, that's so beautiful. Thanks so much for sharing that. And I would like to just ask you already from what you said. You talked about, self-actualization, like discovering who you truly are. How can we go on a journey of discovering who we truly are? How can we know who we are truly born to be spiritually, physically, and in all realms?
That's a great question. Well, the method I use is called self inquiry, or as the Zen monks would call it, a koan, Koan. A koan, or self inquiry process. In yoga, it's called vichara. It's where you contemplate this foundational question. We all have this foundational question come up in life, somewhere along the line, and that is, who am I?
Mm.
And when we ask that question with deep willingness to let whatever answer we have. So right now, I'm a father, I'm a dad, I'm a son to somebody, I'm a coach and a guide and a mentor to others, I'm a student of others, I'm the son of my parents, I am the father of my children, I'm the husband of my. We have all these labels. all these identities. And in the spiritual traditions, they talk about that these identities are not the depth of who we are, they're the role our soul is playing in the moment.
Mm.
So, what is the truth of our soul? Well, by asking the question repeatedly in what I call a dyadic format with another partner, tell me who you are, Toby. And then you answer, and then I say, okay, thank you. And I say, tell me who you are not. Go
Mm.
within. Well, I'm not this type of person. I'm not a bad person. Okay, then you ask me the question, Satyan, tell me who you are. I get in touch with who am I now? I'm a guide. I'm a humanitarian. Then you would ask me the question, tell me, Satyan, who you are not. And I would share, well, I'm not a person who likes to steal or harm other people. And then we go back and forth like this, Toby. Tell me who you are. Tell me who you're not. And then you ask me. When we take the time to go deeper in this, layers of who we think we are fall away. And then we recognize we're not those roles. We're actually something deeper. We're spirit. We're essence. We're God force. We're a divine spark of existence. And we are part of all of reality. This It's different to have an intellectual, spiritual, theological understanding of this, but it's huge when you actually wake up to the experience of this. So if you keep asking this question, who am I and who am I not, with authenticity, with a true desire to know your innermost, all the surface layers of who we think we are will fall away,
Mm.
and the truth of our own selves will be revealed from within, without teachers, without guides, without intervention, without anything. And then we get to have our own embodied wisdom. So that would be the approach I take for myself, and I recommend for those, in my circle.
Yes. Answer the
It's one of the
question.
ways. One of
Yeah,
the ways.
one of the ways. Answer the question of who am I? Who am I? Yeah. And Satyan, thanks so much for that because um while explaining that question or while explaining that to me, I was just having that kind of reflection that okay, after I've gotten to understand who I truly am, what's the next thing for me? Is it actually answering the question of what I want to become or who I want to become?
Yes.
Mm.
Yes, that's a great question. So after one recognizes who they are, and that can take some time, a day or two, it could be pondering, where you get to the truth. Because every time you ask that, a layer of who you think we are comes up and then falls away. Just like a peeling of a layer of an onion to get to the core. When you get to the core, like you said, what's the next question to ask? The next questions to ask are, what's mine to do in the world? And what's not mine to do in the world? So if I were to ask you, Toby, or you were to ask me what's mine to do in the world, well, it's to serve enlightenment and to help people come into um, enlightenment, to unify and to mobilize with each other for the greater good.
Mm.
Right? That's what I'm here to do. And if you were to ask me what's mine not to do,
Mm-hmm.
there's so many causes on the planet, like the whales and trees. I mean, those a lot of people doing good work, but I don't feel resonant. It's not my work to do. I can care about it. I can love it. I can support it. But what's mine to do and what's not mine to do in this day and age, it's so important to know that, so that we're not drifting and thinking, okay, I should be doing this, I should be doing that. When we've discovered what's mine to do and we ask it all the way to the core, the revelation of that answer from within is our mission, is our soul's mission, our soul's purpose. We should be dedicated to that. When we dedicate it and devote ourselves to the answer of
Mm.
what mine is to do, we let go of all the other superficial things. We don't have to do all those. Then what
Mm.
happens is our life goes on jet fuel. We become It's like grace comes to our back. It's like power rises within, and then transformation happens all around us, and miracles and synchronicities when we are dedicated to what we're here to do and we relinquish what we're not here to do.
Yes. Letting go of those baggages, flying light, and you can fly faster and fly higher. Yeah.
You got it. You got it.
Yeah. Thanks so much for that. Thank you so much for sharing that. So, you're talking about, letting go of our baggages and flying lighter and flying higher. I'd just like to know about the things that we have to let go of, in order to achieve our purpose in life. Like, what could be holding us back from actually fulfilling our purpose and reaching our fullest potential?
You see, when we are born, we're born, many of us, wide open, like a wide open book. And then childhood stuff comes in, problems, challenges, traumas, hurts, pains, rejections, betrayals as we become teenagers, then adults. So here we are, this beautiful, wide open baby. And then we accumulate all this stuff on top of us, charges, traumas, angers, resentments, all this internal emotional baggage. And that obscures our capacity to see the world freely from joy and love. We
Mm,
tend to operate and let these unconscious harms and hurts and baggage, it rules our life subconsciously. Most of our life is ruled by our subconscious mind and all that it holds within it. Our conscious mind is only a very small part of how we operate. Most of it is based on the underlying programming we have. So in my work with accelerated evolution, we look for where's the number one charges? Where's your biggest traumas? Where have you had the biggest upsets physically, mentally, emotionally, in relationship, in business, in work, in family? And we list what are the most upsetting and challenging things that we've gone through. And I take them through a clearing process, and people learn a clearing process called accelerated evolution. And in that process, the problem turns into possibility. It transforms from within, from something that's stuck, holding you down,
mm,
leeching your energy, keeping you trapped, keeping you small, playing small. And that energy that was trapped in the trauma and the fear and the smallness releases. And now what happens is we get clarity, wisdom, peace of mind, and empowerment to achieve what our soul's real calling is, what we're here to do.
mm,
So I think it's really important. We can have all the dreams and biggest wishes in the world to move forward, but if we've got something holding us on by our feet and, a chain and ball on an
mm.
emotional level, then how fast can we run? How high can we soar? We can't. It's
You
going to be
can't.
limited.
Yeah.
So the ability is within us. We just have to integrate the old upsets and charge. And I have to say, um, I'm blessed to have mentors who have broken the code, who have created ways to dissolve these past traumas, charges, problems within minutes, not
Mm,
not weeks, months, years that it used to take. We can do this in minutes. And I've created a program called Accelerated Evolution, and it's available. People can go through the free experience on finding up what's the problem that you have that you want to have more peace and more flow and you want to get rid of once and for all and have happiness. It could be with your health, your relationships, with your work, you name it. When you go through the process, it's free online at acceleratedevolutionacademy.com, then you'll experience this state of inner freedom and inner flow. And then what happens is your own power comes on board. So that I think is really important. We got to clear the old, integrate the old, so it's not hampering our present time, so we can craft beautiful futures and lives that are aligned with who we actually are and our
mm.
service in the world.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I'm going to place the link to your website in the show note of this episode. So I encourage anyone who is interested in going on this journey to, click on the link, copy the link, and reach out to you, or sign up for the course and become a warrior sage as well. Become a great warrior and fulfill your purpose or reach your fullest potential in life. That'll be great. That'll be awesome. So Satya, I mean, I have a question. Like we talked about, letting go of traumas and working on our traumas and limiting beliefs and all of that. How can I truly know if I have been, or how can I know if I've been truly healed from any trauma or anything that could be holding me back from fulfilling my potential or purpose in life?
Well, first of all, the way you know you have traumas and you have challenges that are holding you back is
Mm,
that you're hitting ceilings that you want to move beyond, but those ceilings don't change.
mm,
So you get reactive around certain people, or you get reactive around certain conditions or things that are going on. Those are signs that you've got this unconscious charge or even conscious charge and buildup of stuff inside of you. How do you know you're free of it? Because you're now have entered it. You're not bypassing it. You feel it fully. You're not using affirmations to try to go around it or shift your mindset. You're entering the heart of your inner darkness, but in an articulated, clear way. When you do that and you feel it fully, the energy starts to shift, brother. It starts to release, it starts to integrate. It's our resistance to that negativity that perpetuates it. It's our love and acceptance of the past and what we're experiencing internally that helps to heal it. And when we go to the full depth of healing, the experience is like there's 1,000 pounds has gone from me. There's a clarity in our mind. There's a deep peacefulness and tranquility that occurs. And instead of the situation in the past, like let's say uh, a, uh, someone betrayed you in business, and so now you're always tight around business, or someone betrayed you in a relationship, and so now you're always skeptical about people. That skepticism will be gone. That's how you know you're healed, and you'll be magnetizing beautiful people, people connected to you. So what you're magnetizing to you is a reflection of your state of unhealedness or depth of healedness. So if you're attracting a combination of a lot of junk, a lot of negative stuff, when there's, I would recommend that you look at the world as a mirror reality, that you're transmitting unconsciously something that is attracting more of the same that's usually sourced in the past. But when you have the courage, the vulnerability, and you say, look, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to magnetize what's beautiful to me in relationships, in health and wealth, in my freedom in life. And you're courageous enough to do the inner work. When you do that, what happens is a state of flow arises. That's another way of feeling how you're aligned. Flow happens, synchronicities happen. You meet new people. People want to come around you and offer opportunities. So that's the ultimate space to be in, where we're not striving with struggle. We're magnetizing from the beauty of the transmission of our free self.
Yeah, I love that. One thing that you said that is going to stick with me is magnify what is beautiful in your life. Like, focus on the positive part of your life. That's something that will stick with me. And once we are able to let go of the past and we have been healed, then we start to experience or enjoy that flow, the flow of opportunity, flow of abundance in our lives, and things begin to fall into place. And we start noticing that we are breaking through those ceilings that seems to be holding us down, holding us back. Yeah, that's great. One other thing that I know that could hold us back, apart from limiting beliefs, also could be fear and anxiety. Like, oh, what would happen if I take this step? Will I fail? Maybe due to past experiences or traumas, for example, or so. Um, so I'd like to know from your experience, how can we battle anxiety? How can we develop a kind of mindset that, fights through and sees us through until we fulfill our purpose?
In my body of work with accelerated evolution, we don't treat fear as the enemy.
Mm,
We treat fear as a aspect of ourselves that is yearning for and desiring illumination, awakening. That it's some little inner child or some part of us that built a defense mechanism. If we were harmed as a youngster or a teenager, as an adult, then we can create a defense mechanism internally that we're never going to let that happen again. Fear is a defense mechanism. Now, there's natural fear, like fear of heights, fear of jumping off a cliff. These are healthy fears we should have. We should not be entertaining jumping off a cliff and things like this. But unhealthy fears are ones that are holding back our potentiality, like starting a new business or approaching or taking your relationship to another level of intimacy and connection. Or um, fear could hold us back from living our dream or going on an adventure we've always wanted to do, or even a small way to communicate to people that we need to communicate to, but we're holding ourselves back because we fear what the repercussions is or how they'll respond. There's many fear shows up in many ways. The way I look at it is fear is an aspect of ourselves which has a higher purpose, a higher meaning. And so what I like to do is ask the fear, what's your goal for me? What's your highest intention? What do you wish for me to achieve, to realize? And usually fear is there to protect you in some way from something. You might not be aware of it in the moment.
Mhm.
So through our accelerated evolution process, the fear reveals itself, starts talking to you and tells you what it's there for. And then inside your imagination, your being, you actually feel, okay, what if I lived with that protection and I didn't have to worry about protecting myself anymore? What would that feel like? And you go into that. And then that fear has the next revelation. It even has a higher purpose. So what we do is we ask it, the fear, what's your higher and higher and higher purpose? And ultimately, it all falls away and dissolves. And fear was only a doorway to your higher self. That's the magic. Fear's not a problem. It's actually an invitation to your higher self. And if you look at it that way, then fear can become an ally rather than a restraint
Wow.
or an enemy.
Fear is a doorway to your higher self. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah. And I mean, my take home from that is basically whenever we have this kind of fear in our hearts, we should just ask it, what are you here to teach me? What am I to learn
yes,
from this experience right now?
exactly. What's your higher meaning for me? What do you wish for me to realize, to achieve, to attain with this fear?
Mm,
Listen to its answer and then in your imagination, achieve that. And then ask it again, what's even higher than this? Even more spiritual, even more important.
mm,
And it'll reveal itself. The fear will transform and it'll become your best friend. This is
mm,
the warrior's path. A warrior he doesn't brace for fear, or she doesn't brace for fear. They embrace fear,
mm.
and then
Yeah.
fear becomes an ally.
Fear becomes an ally. That's good. Yeah. So now we've talked about, overcoming or, become making fear our ally. We've talked about anxiety, limiting beliefs, traumas, and a lot of things that could hold us back. What else do we need to truly achieve our goals in life? Like we have all these things set out in front of us, all these ceilings that we want to break. What else do we need in order to really fly and fly high?
To really fly, you know, in my life, I used to be, I'm a CEO of various companies. I founded various companies throughout my life. I have our Accelerated Evolution Academy. I've got our Warrior Sage leadership training. And these things, they take energy, they take focus, right? But earlier in my life, I would push very hard, struggle. And I used to think struggle was noble. I used to think struggle was the warrior's way. And after beating myself against the wall, ups and downs, challenges, and everything, I came to realize that struggle is effort that's laced with negative emotion.
Mm,
It, we need to have effort in the world to move forward, to
yeah.
soar, to move forward. But struggle is the extra emotional baggage on top of the effort that drags us down. So what we need, so the final step for me is to transform struggle into flow. And the way to do that, to transform struggle into flow, is just what I shared here, is to investigate, where am I repeatedly struggling? Where am I struggling? And recognize, what is the extra importance I'm adding to the situation? And so when we can lower the importance of what we think is so important that we need to struggle for, when we turn down that dial of struggle
Mm,
and lower the importance on the very topic, all of a sudden flow starts arising. When we let go of the attachment and the desire to outcome so strongly and with a struggle filled mindset and pushing mindset, then all of a sudden we realize, I can lower the importance on this and allow more, receive more, invite more to me rather than push towards. This is the magical step to go into flow state. And that's what will really help us soar. It's the willingness to let go of being habitually in the struggle.
mm. Yeah. Yes. What are you struggling with at this moment? And how can we change that struggle to a flow? Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. I just like to know, like you said already, in the time past, you've founded a lot of companies. You are you're a lot of things. You do a lot of things basically. How do you balance it all? Like how do you balance every facet, every aspect of your life, and still remain centered?
One of my business mentors, Kevin Nations, shared with me this beautiful philosophy of equilibrium, equanimity, balance.
Mm,
And my version is the five F's: faith, family, finance, fitness, and fun.
mm.
And fun.
Fun,
So
yeah,
to me, those are the five freedoms. So every week, every month, I'm always looking for what can I do to deepen my faith, my connection with God, my connection to service, my connection to wisdom, faith, family. What can I do to enjoy more family time, more precious time with my wife, precious time with my children, my parents, my brother, my world family?
mm,
Faith, family, finance. What can I do to have not just more earnings, but the balance of earning, saving, spending, investing in a harmonious way,
mm,
not in an ego filled, crazy way? Faith, family, fitness. How can I keep my body healthy and vital and alive? And then fun.
mm,
What is the fun? What is the joyful experiences of life? Not just to be hardworking. So, what I do is every week I take a look at these freedoms: faith, family, finance, fitness, and fun. And I look at which one should I invest more in this week?
yeah,
Which one did so this week I had a lot of fun, and I
mm,
did a lot of focus on my business.
mm,
And because I'm in Hawaii now visiting, I'm having a lot of fun with new friends and new connections. But this week coming, I'm going to spend more time with my family. I'm going to call my daughter more, spend more time with my son. How are you, my son? And reach them. So this is the way I like to keep an equanimity and balance. I like to nurture the garden. I have a faith, family, finance, fitness, and fun, as if they're different plants, different fruit trees in my garden. And then
yeah,
I water them, trim them, take care of them as a garden. And so I like to live my life like a garden where I'm
yeah,
nurturing all these beautiful areas. So I've become a whole man. And I learned this the hard way. Before I wasn't. I was so driven
mm,
and I almost lost my family, divorce and all that because I was not in balance.
mm,
But now I've found that balance, thankfully, and I share the value of this equilibrium and nurturing the garden of our life.
yeah.
And yeah, that's been really a blessing in my life.
Thanks for sharing that. What are the guardians of your life? Faith, family, finance, fitness, and fun. Yeah, that's awesome. What do you do for fun?
I train martial arts, Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Ooh, okay. That sounds
That's one of
fancy.
my passions, one of my joys. Um, um, I like to travel, even if it's small travels, even if it's a day trip. I like to go camping. I like to go um, in nature. I like to go for walks in nature and enjoy fun in nature.
Mm,
And I like entertainment, like going to see shows, live theater, live music. So those are the type of things I like to do for fun.
oh, that's great. Thanks so much for sharing that. Yeah. Uh, so, from your experience and your exposure to the personal growth industry and personal development industry, what do you think the future of personal growth is? With the invention or the existence of AI, machine learning, and the old technology that we have today.
I've, with all we've been working on, and this has been a deep area of interest and cultivation of how we can move this human potential movement into the next highest echelon. In
Mm,
the old days, it was very based on a strong leader, a strong personality figure who is the imparter and the transformational artist and master.
mm,
Now I feel we're in the era where it's a circle. The community is the master. The community, each one is, you're a master at play. I'm a master.
mm.
Everyone listening to has a mastery. Everyone
Yeah,
watching, you have a mastery too. So if we come together and grow each other, not just hierarchical, one person, but what can I lend you? What, Toby, can you lend me? How can our friends and each other raise each other up? And so we arise together. I think that's the new era of human and societal transformation and personal transformation
Mm,
is that it's a unification of masters at play rather than the old school of a linear strong leader. This is what I'm seeing around me. This is the wisdom I'm feeling. It's called circle culture in the indigenous wisdoms.
mm,
Circle culture, as opposed to linear culture, which
yeah.
is hierarchical, which has a king and then the subordinates and then the
Mm,
serfs.
mm,
Here, a circular culture, like here in Hawaii, the old wisdom ways. And I know in Africa, I know it's the same as in India in the old days.
mm,
In our own ancient wisdoms from all around the world, we came from the circle culture where everyone was treated as part of a whole, and that if each person, if there's anyone left out, we wouldn't be a
mm,
whole. I believe the new era is the old era coming back with a new stage of wisdom, with a new stage of universality rather than just my
mm.
tribe, but the world tribe as one.
Yeah, we are all connected in one way, and we are it's like in a circular form, I would say, like you said. Yeah, that's beautiful. That's so beautiful. I'm so grateful that I've gotten the opportunity to speak with you and learn so much from you. Like there's a lot of things I'm taking away from this episode. And I believe there are other people out there or listeners out there who would like to maybe still reach out to you, connect with you, maybe, take one course or the other from you. So what's the best way to do this, and what are the services that you offer that you want everyone to actually take part of?
Thank you, Toby. Well, those of you who are called to look at removing those obstacles that we've talked about, those past charges, those hurts, traumas, you can have a complimentary free experience. It's downloadable on our website, acceleratelevolutionacademy.com. And those who are called into it, there's a training we have called Accelerated Evolution
Mm,
360, and that helps you become a master of your own inner life, as well as you can become a coach and a guide and serve others. Those of you who are involved in business and leadership, then I would recommend you go to warriorsage.com, which is the master website. You can find all the other organizations that we serve and that are subsidiary companies in our organization. That's
wow. Yeah.
warriorsage.com. This is specifically for business leaders, CEOs, executives who wish to become the top experts in human dynamics to lead their companies to levels of success and fulfillment, which one can, which are extraordinary. And so we've created a program called the Executive Black Belt. I consider it the ultimate leadership development for those in leadership positions who want to be of most impact and fulfillment in life. So those are the two I would
Awesome.
recommend.
Thank you so much. One more time, the links will be in the show notes of this episode, warriorsearch.com and acceleratedEvolutionAcademy.com will be in the show notes of this episode for you to click on and also to connect with Satyen. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your presence here. Thank you so much for sharing all the words of wisdom and the nuggets that you shared with us also. That was so wonderful. Thank you. I appreciate you so much.
Toby, just who you are, where you're coming from, your energy, the love in your heart is felt and palpable all the way from here in Hawaii. And I'm grateful for you sharing about um, my work and sharing with your audience and everyone listening. All my love and blessings to you. We're in a very challenging time on the planet with all types of upheaval. We are the ones that have to stay grounded in the heart and in something and aim for something higher in a world that's can go be going crazy at
Mm.
times. Let us be the voice of sanity and love and peace. And so thank you, Toby, for being an example, a demonstration of that, and all my love and
Thank you
blessings.
so much. Wow, you made it to the very end of this episode. Thank you so much for listening. I'm grateful for your time, your love, and your contributions. Subscribe, like, review, and share this podcast. God bless you. Bye. Bye.